Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me for another practice here on YouTube. So today we are doing a de-stress flow. So this is going to be suitable for all levels. I'll give different options throughout. So taking the option that resonates with you, that feels right to you in your body today, okay? So we're going to start the practice in a comfortable seated position, and I would recommend for this practice having a block or a book and a strap. If you don't have a strap, you could use a dressing gown tie, which is a nice alternative that you can find at home. So bring your hands down to the knees or the thighs with the palms facing down and start to close down the eyes or take a steady gaze out in front. And taking our coherent breathing now, so breathing in for 6 and breathing out for 6. And this helps us to bring our brain waves into a meditative state. This helps to really kind of balance out our metabolic rate, our heart rate. So inhaling through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Coming back to your natural breath. And really observing today in this practice any of the thoughts passing through the thinking mind. And connecting to that understanding that we are not our thoughts. You are the one observing the thoughts. They are not you. So not judging any thoughts that come up or any feelings. Just observing, letting them arise, and knowing that they will pass through. Noticing how you feel today, mentally, physically, emotionally. Making space for that in this practice. Now we'll open the eyes back up when you're ready. Keeping this left leg bent in, we're going to open this right leg out to the side. So it does not matter how far out this right leg is coming, just bring it to a place, I would say not your absolute maximum of where you can open it to. So we are opening into the hip, but taking it to a place that's before your limit. And then starting with bringing the right hand to the outside of the right leg. Inhale, sweep your left fingertips up to the sky, lift up and out from the waist. As you exhale, stretching over to the right. Now it could be that you're working here and really keeping that space across the chest, shining the heart to the ceiling. Or if you do want to come deeper into the stretch, if that's in your practice, you can bring this right arm in and lower further down. This left hand could be finding the right foot, but make sure that you're not compromising the space across your chest. So make sure that you can still shine your heart towards the ceiling and send your gaze in that direction. Opening into the left side body. You might even be able to feel this stretch into the lower back. Just observe whatever's there. Notice what you notice. One more breath on this side. And inhale, come back to center. Switch the legs over, so right leg bends in, left leg lengthens out. And same again here, taking the option of either the left arm to the outside of that left leg, or you can tuck it under. But inhaling first and reaching the right fingertips up, lifting the ribs away from the hips. Then as you exhale, finding that stretch over to the other side. Breathing here. Sending your breath into the right side body. Noticing how the right side feels. Maybe it feels a little bit different to the other side, and that's okay. It's very common for our body to be different, feel different on different sides. Well done. And inhale, come back up to center. Bring the legs now so that they're both out in front, and this is where we're going to use the strap. You can do this without the strap or the dressing gown tie if you really don't have one, but taking the strap to the balls of the feet and then sliding the hands back to neutral, this is going to give us a really nice way to create a little bit of resistance with this stretch. And especially if with Paschimottanasana you're finding that you're someone, when you're taking the fold, if you're keeping the spine long, that you need to be quite high up, which for a lot of us we are, then the strap is a really nice way to find a little bit of resistance with so that we can find that stretch through the legs without using our hands, if our hands aren't coming to the feet. So hopefully that makes sense, what I've just explained, but yes. So inhale in a neutral spine, reach the crown of your head to the ceiling. As you exhale, using your strap for resistance, leaning forwards, lead with your chest bone. So leading with the sternum. So keeping that spine long. So belly's coming over the thighs. Finding your breath here, so as you inhale, maybe you find a gentle lift through the chest. And as you exhale, melting into that fold. Imagine just emptying out stress and tension from the body. Allowing it to be released, to let go. And our body has a memory just like our mind does. Our body stores lots of different things. And this can build up as tension, and sometimes as manifest as other things within the body. And we're not judging that today. Just being curious, observing, giving permission for the body to release anything that's not serving you. One more breath here. And then inhaling, coming back up to center. Release the strap. Take a little wiggle through the legs if you need to. And move into your tabletop position now on the mat. So shoulders are above the wrists, hips above the knees. And we're going to take that right leg out to the side. So right leg's lengthened and the inside of my right foot's connected to the mat. So see how this feels first. This might be enough for you here. You could take your breaths here, or you're going to walk the hands out in front and find your Anahatasana, your melting heart pose. your puppy pose. So forehead and chest melting down towards the mat, opening into the shoulders, the upper back. And we're also opening into this right hip. Inhale, walk the hands back into center. Draw your right leg back in. Before we come on to the other side, just moving into some cat and cow now. So inhale, send that gaze out in front, open across the chest, let the belly drop down. Exhale, drop your head, lift up and out through the shoulders, round the spine. You can go at your own pace here, just moving through. Inhaling and exhaling. As we start to mobilize the spine, notice how the different parts of the spine feel. So notice how the upper back feels. Making your way down to the lower back. Just bringing your awareness into this area of the body, seeing what you can observe, seeing what you can notice. Well done, come back to neutral. Opening into your left hip. You might like to take your breaths here, or you're going to start to walk the hands forward, find your melting heart pose on the left side. Breathing here. You can come down to the forearms if you need to as a more supportive option. One more breath. Inhale, walk the hands back in. Draw the left leg back into center. And we'll exhale, sit the hips down to the heels, find a child's pose. So you can either have the arms stretched out in front or bring the arms to the side of the body. Melt your forehead and your chest down towards the mat. Relax the body. Seeing if you can connect to a sense of stillness, a sense of ease. Or just imagining what it would feel like within your body right now if you were in a complete sense of ease and content. How might that feel? Remembering you can come back to your child's pose at any time that you need to in your practice. It's always there for you. Opening the eyes back up, lift your hips away from your heels, tuck your toes under, press the mat away with your hands. Exhale, lift the hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Bend through the left leg, draw your right heel down towards the mat, finding that stretch into the back of the right leg. And come on to the other side, so bend through that right leg, press the heel of the left foot down towards the mat, finding a further stretch here. But keep making sure to press the mat away with your hands, lifting the hips to the sky. And then just lengthening through both legs, or finding a bit of length. You could still have the legs bent in your downward facing dog. You don't have to be straight. Inhale, we're going to step this right foot through now between the hands and drop your back knee down. So we're finding this low lunge. You could either pop your hands on some blocks here if you like to work with blocks, or you're going to lift the chest and see if you can interlace the hands behind the back, rolling the shoulders back, opening across the chest. Make sure to still find a lift up and out from the waist, checking that that front knee is aligned with the ankle. Breathing here. Now releasing your hands from the interlace, bring the hands to blocks or to the mat. Shift the hips back, find your half split. So starting to lengthen through this right leg, flexing the right foot. But again, you can keep as much bend in this right leg as you need to. Try and keep the space across your chest, keep the spine long. You can always have your hands on blocks to elevate you here as well, which can sometimes really help to keep your alignment through the spine here. If it's in your practice, you can fold over that front leg if it feels good to. Well done. Shift the weight forwards into that front right foot. Framing the foot with the hands, tuck under the back toe and step your right leg back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, bring the shoulders forwards above the wrists. So taking a chaturanga here. So you're either going to inhale and come through into an upward facing dog, or you could take your cobra. So take whatever's in your practice or what you need today from this practice. And then on the exhale, we float back to the downward facing dog. Reconnect with your breath. Remember, you can always take a child's pose. And then the left foot steps through between the hands. Drop your back knee down. Lift the chest. See if you can take that interlace behind the back, opening across the chest, lifting up and out from the waist. So this left foot's pressing down into the mat. And release your hands from the interlace. You can use the hands to support you here. Shift the weight back into that right leg. Lift the left toes away, lengthening through that left leg. Trying to keep your spine long, finding the half split. So we often store a lot of tension in the backs of the legs, the hips, the neck, the shoulders. So these are all areas where we've been opening up today. But just remembering that sometimes when we stretch into these areas or bring awareness into these areas, sometimes different thoughts, different feelings can come up. There can be feelings of frustration, especially if we're tight in certain areas. So really having some compassion for yourself, thinking about ahimsa, which is non-violence, part of yoga philosophy, and non-violence includes towards yourself and your body. So not doing things that you know will harm yourself or harm others. This body is the vessel that carries us through life. So listening to it and honouring it as best we can. Shifting the weight back into that front leg, grounding through the hands, tuck under your back toes, and sweep the left leg back to your downward facing dog. Breathing here. Inhale, send your gaze between the hands, walk the feet in. Feet roughly hip width, and we'll hang down in a forward fold. Bend your legs as much as you need to. And if it's accessible, you're going to bring the peace fingers around the big toes and let the elbows come out to the side as you let the head drop down. And with your head, I want you to see if you can take some little circular movements. See if you can draw a figure 8 with your head. So imagine you're using your head to draw a figure 8 on the ground. As you do this, just noticing and observing any kinks, any areas of tension, giving permission to those areas to let go, noticing any parts of the body trying to hold on here. And don't worry about how it looks, focus on how it feels. Now bringing the hands to the hips, keep some softness in the legs, draw the belly in. Inhale, lift up to standing, finding your Tadasana mountain pose. Opening out to the side, we'll take a big step back to our Prasarita Padottanasana. So wide leg position with the toes pointing forwards. And you're either going to have hands on the hips, or if it's accessible, take the interlace with the hands behind the back. Inhale first, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. As you exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. And then maybe dropping the head down, letting the arms drop over here. So opening into the heart space, the shoulders, the chest, but also the backs of the legs. Imagine sending your breath into the backs of the legs as you breathe. Take a deep inhale, start to lift the chest, keeping the spine long. You can start to release the hands from the interlace. And step that left foot in, and we're grounding into this right leg. Find our tree pose. So left knee's opening out to the side. You can keep the toes connected, or the foot can come to the calf or the inside of the thigh. Just never resting on that knee joint. And find your drishti, find your focus point. So we're going to bring the left hand out to the side with the palm facing up. Right hand reaching up to the ceiling. Inhale here, grow your tree tool, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. As you exhale, seeing if you can take a gentle stretch over to the left. So over towards the knee that's bent. We're not putting any pressure on the leg, this left hand's hovering. We're just stretching into the right side body. So this is quite an additional challenge to the balance here. Just breathing into it, coming in and out as many times as you need to. Well done. Come away from the stretch and release from your tree. And as you release that left leg, take it back out to Prasarita. So wide leg position, toes pointing forwards. And this time we're going to inhale, reach the arms out to the side. Exhale, see if you can float forwards, keeping the spine long, keeping the arms out. And then you could either be working here, or if it's in your practice, hands can come down to the mat. And you could be walking the hands, the heels of the hands in line with the heels of the feet, or moving in that direction, shifting a little bit of weight into the mounds of the big toes. Take a deep inhale, bring the hands back to the hips now. Start to lift the chest, keeping the spine long. Lifting your way back up. Deep breaths as you come back up from the fold. This time we're stepping the right leg in. So coming to our tree on the other side. So grounding into the left foot. Right knee opens out. You can keep the toes connected, or the foot can come to the calf or the thigh. Find your drishti. And then right arm comes out to the side, palm facing up. Left arm floats up to the sky. Inhale, lift up and out from the waist. Exhale, stretch, not twist. That would be really cruel. Twisting in your tree. And seeing if you can take that little stretch here. This could be a really subtle movement. It doesn't have to be a super deep stretch. If it's too much, just stay in your non-stretched tree, listening to your body. Make sure that you're still breathing. Inhale, come back to center, release from the stretch, and release from your tree pose. So now in our Tadasana mountain pose at the top of the mat, we inhale, reach the fingertips up to the sky, lift your ribs away from your hips. Exhale, forward fold, bend your legs as much as you need to, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, float the hands down to the mat, bend through the legs, step your feet back, drop your knees straight down to the mat, and walk your hands in and come to a high kneeling position. So legs are parallel, hands are going to come to the lower back, and elbows are drawing in towards each other, so really opening across the chest. We're going to take our camel pose now. So I'll demonstrate baby camel, and then of course if it's in your practice and you want to come into full camel, you absolutely can, but just keep listening to what feels right to you. So it's not always about coming into the deepest, it's never really about coming into the deepest expression of a pose. It's about connecting to your intuition of what you need today, which it won't be doing the deepest expression of a pose every single time, or it might never be, that might never be the case, and that's okay. So hands on the lower back, elbows squeezing in together, and for some of us, this version can feel more supportive is when you tuck the toes under, it brings your heels slightly higher up for camel, so you can always try that. So we're pressing the hips forwards. Inhale, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling, elbows drawing in, and then start to send your gaze up to the ceiling. So this is kind of your baby camel here. This is where you could be working here. Or maybe you start to come further back. Maybe the hands come down to the heels. Breathing here, pressing the hips forwards. You can drop the head back and open into the throat if that feels good too. And inhale, start to slowly bring the hands back to the lower back if you've taken them away, and make your way back up to neutral. Release the arms and just gently shift from side to side. So camel pose is very good pose for stress relief. It's a really lovely opening into the front of the body. We're extending the spine, so it's a back bend. So very good for releasing stored tension, but it can often, again, feel quite strong. So now sitting the hips down towards the heels. So taking the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind, just gentle twist, not forcing anything. Inhale, lift up and out from the waist. Exhale, twisting to the right. Send your gaze over the right shoulder. Coming back to center and take it over to the other side. So twisting to the left. Inhale, making space. Exhale, sinking into your twist. And coming back to center. And we're going to come down to a lying position now on your mat. And I want you to grab your block. So bringing the spine down to the mat, and we've got the legs bent, feet roughly hip width apart. And lengthen through the arms and have the fingertips so that they're just brushing your heels here. So I want you to have your block to the side of your mat where you can grab it easily with your hand. So we're going to take a restorative supported bridge. So draw the pelvis up and in towards the body first. Notice the lower spine connecting to the mat, the belly drawing in. Lift your hips away from the mat. Keep the head and the neck nice and straight. So just listening to my voice. And then bring your hand to the block. Slide that block under the hips. So either coming to the highest setting or the lowest setting. Have a play around. There's no right or wrong setting for your block to be on here. You can take it lower or higher. See what feels good for you. We're going to be here for at least 5 to 8 breaths. You can close the eyes if that feels good too. Notice if you can feel your rib cage expanding as you breathe. Maybe you can feel the belly rise and fall. And on your exhales, imagine breathing out and letting go of any stress, any tension, anything that's not serving you. And watching it drift away as you release it through your breath. Coming to the intention of I let go. Perhaps seeing if that resonates for you today. It's okay if it doesn't. Seeing what that means for you. I let go. And a lot of yoga teachings and philosophy and different books that I've read, a lot of them point back to the same thing, which is a lot of our stress and our tension comes from being distracted from the present moment, from the now. So it comes from things that we're anticipating in the future or things that has happened in the past that we hold on to. And this is all part of being a human being. It's part of the human condition. So not judging this at all, but just being aware. When you come into the present moment, right here, right now, there's nowhere else to be. There's nothing else to do. And a lot of Eckhart Tolle's books, sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, talks all about this, about coming back to the present moment. So now coming away from our supported bridge, we're going to activate through the legs and the glutes. This is to support your spine as you slide the block away. And then really slowly and gently peel your spine and your hips back down to the mat. And then bring your feet to the outside edges of the mat. Let the knees drop in together for reconstructive rest position. And wrap your arms over in a hug. So take the right arm over the left to begin with and give yourself a big hug, seeing if you can maybe walk the hands around to find the shoulder blades. Seeing if you can tuck the chin down towards the chest slightly here. We're not lifting the head away from the mat. We're just positioning the head. Taking slow, soft breaths. I let go. Coming back to that intention. Switching the arms over now, so left arm comes on top of the right, taking the hug. You can even give yourself a little massage here if it feels good to, with the hands on the shoulders, the shoulder blades. And then releasing your arms from your hug. Of course, if you have longer to stay in Shavasana or meditation, I really strongly recommend that you do so. If you're ready to leave the practice, we're going to roll over to one side first. And then from there, start to peel yourself back up to a seated position on your mat. Coming back to where we started the practice. Bring your hands to heart center. And we'll bring the fingertips down to meet the ground to honor being in the present moment. Our connection to earth, to being here right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this de-stress flow. I hope that you found it helpful. Do comment and feedback to me on how you found it and how you're getting on. If you liked this flow, then I have another series coming up in December called Mindful Mornings, where we're going to be doing some all levels practices and looking at some more yoga philosophy, the yamas and niyamas, some of which I've touched upon today. So if you're interested in that, please do subscribe to my channel. It's completely free, and look out for those more flows coming in December. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.